Like you said, my name is Chris, and for those of you that don't know, I do volunteer with the Coastal Pregnancy Care Center here in Moorhead. And what I do with that center is I go into the high schools locally, and I help teach a class about abstinence. It's when I started out a couple of years ago, it wasn't an easy thing to do. Gradually, I became more and more comfortable with sharing with my peers, and I've come to a point now where I'm a few years older than them, and really what I love doing about that is I love going in and out of a classroom of 30 people, seeing 2 or 3 lives reached because of what we're doing in a week's time. And really just everything that we teach them helps them to make better decisions. That's what we're all about. We're not about saying, here's what you have to do. We're about giving them the information so that they can make better decisions for their own lives. And it's sad sometimes because I'm in those classrooms and I get to talk to some of those teenage boys and teenage girls after the classes, and I hear some stories, where I'm talking 15 and 16-year-old kids, and they've already done some things they're not proud of. They've already done some things that they wish they hadn't done, and maybe they're in a place now where they don't want to be anymore. And it's sad, and it breaks my heart every time I hear one of those stories. And unfortunately, the presidential administration that's in place now is not making good decisions. And we're going to have some bills come before Congress that would allow some things to happen that are really not good. Some of those things that they would like to do is make abortion a central part of the health care proposals. And you all know they're talking about, health care for everybody, and, kind of like what's going on up in Canada, everybody gets health care no matter what. Well, if they make abortion a part of that, it makes abortion easier for everybody. We believe that human life starts at conception, not when the baby is out of the womb. That completely goes against what the Bible teaches us, and so what we need to do is we need to start acting now before these things go before Congress. Once these things get before Congress, if they get passed, it's going to be a lot harder to overturn those things than it would be to fight it now before it happens. Another thing they want to do is overturn the Hyde Amendment. For those of you that don't know, that's an amendment that prohibited federal funding of abortions. Now, if the federal funding is there, it also makes it easier. Another thing they want to do, and by the way, the Hyde Amendment, they say is responsible for saving 1 million lives so far. So we don't want that overturned. That has prevented 1 million abortions. And we want to keep that in place. They're also trying to mandate that all hospitals and physicians, regardless of moral standards or how they feel about what should happen, have to perform abortions. That is not a good thing. They're taking our rights away from us to say no for what we believe is wrong. And we really need to fight these things. They're passing and signing the so-called Freedom of Choice Act into law, which would make partial birth abortion legal. That's something that, if you don't believe life starts at conception, that's one thing. If you believe that partial birth abortion is okay, that's a whole other story. And we really need to fight that if nothing else, because that's taking a human life once it's already, making decisions, and once, thoughts are there. And like the clip said, REM sleep happens in the womb, which means that there's probably dreams going on in that baby's mind before it's born. And God has placed a dream in everybody's heart today, and He's called us all to do great things, and we want to save as many lives as we can by fighting this now. We don't want to let these things happen and have people that God has called to do great things not ever have the chance to do that. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to get these things before Congress before the bills get to them. And we need these petitions signed. We need as many signatures as we can get so that we can make the biggest impact possible in their minds and in their hearts. And so what I'm asking you to do is that before you make it out that door, I know you all want to get home and watch the Super Bowl and have some good food, but before you step out that door out there, take a minute to sign your name to this petition. And if you will, take one home and try to get some other signatures, maybe at work or from your friends or just in your neighborhood or whatever, because we need to get these things before the Congress. If we don't do our part, then these things will not be done the way that God wants them to be done.